Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Hudak. Give me a sense of how the day went now that we're what is today, Wednesday? 4 days away from the preseason opener.
I think we're kind of ready for the preseason opener. I think both the media and the players, it's just kind of getting to the point outside where it's genuinely too hot to really analyze anything at this point. Like guys breaking free in coverage, it's just one of those things that I kind of want to see them actually in an indoor setting where they're going to be actually playing their games, as it's just starting to feel like it's a little sloppy out there at this point.
How do practices, when they get to this point, Maddy, how do the practices evolve? Meaning, like, are they changing what they're doing in practice right now?
On a day-to-day basis, do you mean?
Yeah, I guess, like, because as, you know, obviously you're going to sort of crawl before you walk before you run type thing. So what sort of things are they doing now that maybe they weren't doing earlier in camp as they continue to get ready for game action?
I think it's a little more situational drills, which kind of allows you to, again, see kind of the progressions in an offense, which was interesting, again, when Jameis Winston targeted Taysom Hill 4 times in a row during his situational 2-minute drill. But just seeing them actually pick up the tempo and actually seeing some decent pass rush today, which, again, I'm still on the fence of the chicken or the egg of is that an issue on the O-line or really good play on the defensive line. But you saw a little more mobility, too, from the quarterbacks today. But it's just kind of been, the same. Some days it's more handoff heavy. Some days it's a little more towards the tight end. But you're starting to see these targets start to come out, including a lot of emphasis on Jimmy Graham for what it's worth. He was probably another one of the primary targets today.
Were there any standouts in the 2-minute portion that caught your eye?
Again, I mean, Taysom did very much so. And Jimmy Graham, just in his ability to make those contested catches in space, the secondary to me looked a little looser than perhaps normal, and I still am just a little worried about the linebackers in coverage, but that did allow a little more from the running back room. I believe it was Kendre Miller or another running back who just blew up Pete Werner on one of the plays, and it kind of shocked us all. And then to just kind of see some good downhill blocking from Ryan Ramczyk, that stood out to me today, because you don't always see that much out of him in training camp, but he kind of blew up Alontae Taylor on a run. And you don't always see him kind of going that far downhill during practice. So good to see, but sometimes when they do those drills outside, the players are standing literally in front of us. So there was only so much I was able to actually write down during some of those drills today.
Maddy Hudak is with us. I also noticed that after practice that the media got to talk to Colin Saunders. Anything, you said they got a good pass rush today. Anything specifically from the 2 new interior players that they brought in this year, and notably Colin Saunders? Anything you've noticed so far in camp?
I do think the interior as a whole has just gotten a lot stronger. That play that Brian Breezy blew up today with Jameis Winston, he flew right up the middle as well. Trying to kind of think about that. I know that they're playing James Hurst now at that left guard role. They have Trevor Penning at left tackle, and then the normal line of McCoy, Ruiz, and Ramczyk. So it was good in a way to see those guys kind of break through, but I think I've been paying a little more attention to that competition going on at defensive end, and it seems like Carl Granderson has kind of pulled away from that as well. He got some good pressure today on top of that, but the unit as a whole, I think, looks a lot stronger than it has in years past, and just seeing the amount of guys that they've rotated into that interior, again, it's one of those things that I think the preseason will illuminate quite a bit, but it's good to see them continuously getting pressure. Because, it kind of reminds me of Drew Brees, where he kind of crumbled with pressure up the middle. It's kind of hard on Derek Carr, too. And so the more that they can get those reps in practice, the better. It's
interesting, Maddy, when the Saints lost Onyemata and Tuttle in free agency, I think we all sort of looked at that position and thought, what are they going to do there? So they added a couple in free agency. They brought in Breezy. So not to miss the point, like, they're rotating plenty of bodies. Like, they look. I know you said it's a chicken or the egg type thing right now, so we'll find out when they're not playing each other. But confident in the defensive line as of right now in the interior?
Yeah, confident as of now. I always like when they take guys that are from Kansas City, because I think the way that Andy Reid drafts prototypes, just like Tano Passignon, who I thought was a really good, versatile piece for them. I always pay attention to their arm size, their wingspan, and that's something that I know Andy Reid really values as well. So quite frankly, anytime they're bringing over a defensive lineman from that defensive system, I'm kind of inclined to go forward on that. I think Brian Breezy has just surprised everyone with his speed up the middle. And when you think about guys like Nick Bosa and Aaron Donald, yeah, they have the power moves as well, but they're just so quick off the line of scrimmage that it's almost gone in a flash. So to see that kind of come out of Brian Breezy, I don't really think we've seen that much speed on the interior, especially not out of, Onimata and Tuttle the last few seasons.
Hey, I want to ask you about something else you mentioned a bit ago in one of your previous answers about Trevor Penning. I want you to put on your scouting cap, not so much what you've seen, as from a camp report, just from more of a scouting perspective. What about him makes sense at left tackle as opposed to playing a guard spot or on the right side? Why does he fit at left tackle, or does he?
It's hard for me to say exactly. I think that if I'm correct, that's the position that he played in college, but I just think that James Hurst kind of slots in better at that left guard role than Trevor Penning does. So I'm not sure so much of it if he's kind of born to play tackle or guard, because, they drafted Andres Pete as a left tackle, I believe, and then he's played guard his entire career here.
Right.
So it's kind of hard for me to say, honestly, when the Saints draft guys, what they kind of intend for them to be. But I think his, aggressive nature has really come on strong. I think he just has a little bit of a bigger build than James Hurst as well. And that left guard role, again, when I'm talking about the issues with Drew Brees, that's kind of an issue with Derek Carr as well, and needing that interior to really be strong. And so I think that's what James Hurst played a lot of that left tackle role in relief of for Penning last year. But at least my kind of offhand analysis is that it just makes more sense to have the line with James Hurst at that guard role and keep developing him at the role that they started him with.
And two more for you. I know DA was also asked today about linebacker depth, and I'm curious your thoughts based on what you've seen out there. Andrew Dowell goes down. We know it's Davis Warner, Zach Bond. Do you feel like they have enough linebacker depth there, or is this I've classified Maddy as a must. It's not a want or a need. Like, they got to go add somebody else. What are your thoughts on linebacker based on what you've seen?
Yeah, no, it's just not sufficient for what it is now, and it just kind of makes you think about how much you were relying on Demario Davis being, an absolute sure thing, because he really has not missed any time at all since he joined the Saints for the last several seasons. And, Pete Werner was always the one that kind of missed more time, and so when they lost Caden Ellis, then you kind of worried about that depth there, and then Andrew Dowell going down, it just kind of seems like they're kind of shoving more Zach Bond in the picture. But just from what we've seen in practice, if I was an opposing team and they had three linebackers out there and one or two are in coverage, that's exactly where I'm kind of picking on. I just think it's a little too much to ask from guys that we really haven't seen play meaningful snaps to suddenly kind of jump into Demario Davis's role and Quan Alexander's role. Even Pete Werner has said that he's kind of missed that void of Demario Davis's leadership, and he's been able to take it over. But that room was interesting because it almost seemed like there was some potential there with Demario Davis out there, and then you lose Demario Davis and you quickly realize just how little they have there. So it's one of those things that if the defensive line can play a lot better than last season, they might be able to absorb it, but it would be something that I'd be looking closely at the waiver wires and really anything they could do before the season starts.
She's on Twitter at Maddy Hudak _94. Y'all give her a follow. Do you know where training camp is going to be next year? Any scuttle yet?
I've heard that it's probably going to be elsewhere, and I know that they're saying it's not weather-based, but it's hard to ignore that guys drop like flies like every single day here. And it just, I talk about Tulane at least prepping to play in Yeoman Stadium, and same with the LSU, they play outdoors, but to have an indoor stadium, it just kind of seems like a little needless to kind of be burying it outside this whole time. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them move next year. Renovations aside, it's just been, it's the hottest August on record here.
I know they're saying there's like a cafeteria being renovated or something like that. So, but it kind of feels like, when it's 100, the heat index is 115. It's like, you can find a place to eat your meals. There's probably just a better place to go spend 3 weeks during training camp that could be more suitable for all these grown men. But we'll see in due time. Maddy, we appreciate it as always. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.